Hey, welcome to the Big and Tall Movie Review Show. I'm RC, along with Maximus, Big
Hello.
Red. Hello, guys. We were discussing the end of the summer films. Unfortunately for me, I just really didn't feel like there was a film that drove me out to the box office, money in hand, ready to throw it down. Just kind of want a little bit of a weak summer. What do you say, Max?
I would agree with you there. Weak summer indeed. There was a couple hidden gems along the way, but for the most part, yeah, not a whole lot to go see this year.
Yeah,
That is if you liked superhero movies, sequels.
yeah. I mean, hey, give it. The Conjuring was big. A little bit of the.
Yeah, it really was.
But yeah, I feel like the superhero films.
I think another one of the kind of success stories, was the Brad Pitt movie World War Z came in with a lot of bad buzz and reshoots and budgets and pushed dates back, and it turned out, I thought, pretty well, and it made some good money, and at least it was something that didn't have a two behind it or guys in capes or.
Yeah, for sure. And from what I've heard from you and other people I've talked to that have seen it, I've heard mostly good things.
Yeah, so I would say it was definitely one of the success stories of the summer.
Unexpected, too.
But as wrapping up the summer, which we're trying to do here and discuss some things, we had 3 films that came out that we would probably discuss, and one would be probably KickASS 2, Where the Millers came out, comedy.
Yeah.
KickASS 2 obviously hit girls back, and then we got
You're Next.
You're Next.
It's
yes,
next.
It's
On the
next.
list.
Yes, which is a
The animals are hunting you.
the animals are hunting you. Yes. So as a wrap up for August, here at the Big and Tall Movie Review Show, we thought we would touch on these. Would you, Max? You kind of been into you were always big on the Kick-Ass film when it first came out. Could you give me a little rundown on what you thought of the sequel?
Did it kick ass?
There were several parts that indeed did kick ass in this movie. Although there was a lot that could have been done much better. I think a lot of what the first movie had working for it was the shock value that it had. I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to be quite
what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially the hit girl character.
The violence.
with all the violence and the language and everything. And I think that was a lot of what worked so well for the first movie.
The intimidation factor. Wow, damn.
So, and this one you kind of knew what you were in for a little bit more than you did with
one
the first
of the
movie.
things, too, and I like your take on this, is it seems like some of the superhero movies that we've seen lately has a lot less of the superhero in it. For example, Dark Knight Rises, Iron Man 3, did you get a lot of hit girl in this, or?
They dial hit girl back quite a bit, which is one of the things that kind of worked against the movie. They had her she's turning 15 years old, so she's dealing with,
I've heard there's
puberty.
Mean Girls side. There was like a Mean Girls type side plot that could have just been got rid of. That was.
Yeah, honestly, that's something that could have and should have hit the cutting room floor, if you ask me.
Of course, now the original director Matthew Vaughn didn't return for this, right?
No, I think you're right on that.
Jeff Wadlow.
Yeah, and what they had, but Chloe Grace Moretz, Aaron Taylor, Johnson, and for the majority, this is kind of the same genre.
There's the one big addition to this cast.
Hang on. Were the bad guys intimidating in this, or is it just kind of the?
That's a big part of the movie. The Red Mist from the original changes his name to the motherfucker. This. There's a whole backstory behind that I won't give away for people that haven't seen the movie yet. But
I still like
McLovin.
It sounds still like McLovin.
I'd a big MF on my chest.
Yeah.
Yes,
he was probably the funniest part of the movie. Just him struggling to become the world's first real supervillain.
The thing about that poor kid is. Nobody will ever know his real name, but they'll see him and go, "Hey, it's McLovin."
Yeah,
he will be McLovin till the day he dies.
But it's a
big part of the movie is him putting together a supervillain squad of criminals he's collecting up.
So a lot of baddies that kind of turn into.
Yeah, and he's totally getting off on naming them and giving them kick-ass costumes.
Well, don't they kind of assemble a team of good guys too?
No, they're all pretty gnarly, bone-crunching criminals for the most part. And then on the other hand, the other half of the movie is about KickASS joining a group of homemade superheroes that he's inspired along the way.
With his
including
the
Jim
youth.
Carrey
Jim Carrey. How is Jim Carrey in this?
He was very entertaining. I thought he was one of the better parts of the movie, really. He could have been in it more.
Me, really?
He wasn't in the movie very much.
If you had to say how much is Jim Carrey in this, 20 minutes, less, more?
Collectively, 20 minutes is probably dead
That's
on.
kind of a bummer.
I noticed I see John Leguizamo. He was in this as well.
Yeah, he is.
Let me guess, he plays bad.
Kind of. He's the assistant to Christopher Mintz-Plasse, the motherfucker.
Is Ray Liotta in this? Because seems like every movie I'm watching lately, Ray Liotta is the crooked cop.
If he was, he's got a small enough part that I didn't notice.
But Jim, but Carrey's got a little bit of a scene stealing type 20 minutes, or is it like
a little bit, because he's kind of heading up the super squad, or I forget what I think it's Justice for All or
something along the lines of that. So I would
Justice League.
Let me
know.
In the first Kick-Ass, you had I thought being a father was real in depth with the Nicolas Cage and the Chloë role as father and son or father and daughter rather, and just the in-depthness of that. And I think that's what kind of was the shock factor for people watching. Oh, this is deep, but it's not, and we don't know where to go with this, and that's why everybody liked it. Is this film more or less more like just a little more of a camp fest, campy? Let's just here we go, and
it really did have a lot more campiness to it, and it's, a lot of that is due to the stuff they had going on with Hit Girl hitting puberty and having to deal with high school rules and
wants to see that
being home at a certain curfew time and all that stuff. Yeah, they really
but I mean, I do think this sounds really interesting, though. I think this is. I mean, it sounds like an appealing picture to me. I mean,
of course, we talk about Nicolas Cage. I think the first Kick-Ass was about the last time he has done anything where he actually cared.
Oh, now let's be nice to Nick. Hey, man, I don't appreciate you talking about me like that.
I'm still on Nick Cage's side.
Well,
Max, I'm going to make Leaving Las Vegas 2, and you'll be sorry, man.
I will be sorry because I hate that sitting through the first one was a pain.
I am glad they didn't bring him back for a fantasized conversation in the clouds.
Don't make me light myself on fire and ride a motorcycle.
So, Max, how many cans are we giving Kick-Ass 2?
Oh, I really wish I could rate it higher, but I think because they kind of dialed Hit Girl back so much and didn't have the same shock value that the first film had, I think I'm gonna call it in at 3 out of 6 cans.
So really, it could have been called Ass Kick too.
No. Yeah, the puns.
Good,
big cast, huge cast, but good, not great. All right, so there we go. That's touching up on Kick-Ass 2. I believe this is still in theaters. Go see this movie, for goodness sake. What else are you going to do?
Oh, and too, it's also things are hectic right now. School's starting back up.
That does not matter because
I'm trying to segue into our next one, thinking that sometimes you need a good laugh. Things are hectic. Things are crazy. Is We're the Millers, the night out at the movies to get a good laugh we're looking for?
Oh, yeah, for a lot of people, I'm sure. I was looking for...
Not for Max.
Is this a cut and paste the picture, involving Jason Sudeikis and,
they had a good premise. It just seemed like a little bit slapped on. All the jokes were very predictable. And just, you could call what was going to happen, seconds before almost every time. There were plenty of good laughs in it, and the kid playing the son, Will Poulter, I think is how you say his name. Was very funny. Probably my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah,
I did hear that.
Teen kid.
I did hear that at least though Jason Sudeikis is representing Kansas City by wearing some Arthur Bryant's and Oklahoma Joe's T-shirts during the movie.
But I mean, that's good for Kansas City. But you can't just Google your career and pretend you're Chevy Chase in the early '80s, and kind of. I mean, I know he's got a kind of a shtick, and I like the guy. I mean, I've always liked him, but it's kind of maybe the hometown kid rooting for the. Yeah, but I mean. Max, you've kind of been more opinionated about the whole style of the film, but it seemed like the concept sounded pretty good, especially Jennifer Aniston. I need you to portray his wife, and he was, picked her up as a stripper.
Now, how was she in this? Is she?
Her dialogue and delivery was really funny, although the scenes where she's stripping are probably the worst scenes in the entire movie.
I mean,
to
to her credit, though, at least
look how hot Jennifer Aniston still is.
But we're not showing the goods.
Well, of course they're not showing.
It's just a giant tease, and there's a scene where she's stripping to get him out of trouble with the gangsters in Mexico, and
that we've all seen in the trailers.
And it was just so campy, I couldn't even believe it.
At least, so I will say to her credit, at least she's trying to branch out and do some different things the last couple of years with Horrible Bosses.
Well, she's been more in the comedy genre,
but not exactly taking risky roles.
I will say this.
That she was gonna lose fans. With
I don't think anybody wants to see her doing any type of dark type. I mean, I wouldn't buy it.
You got to give her credit because Aniston seems to have if the cat's got 9 lives, she's got 27 because you can't
kill her.
She just finds a way to keeps her career on the go. And I mean, hey, if she's going to lean into comedy on this, and hey, I'm all for Sudeikis doing whatever he wants. He reminds me of my friend Ray Ryman with the way he looks. They both got the same deadpan and the whole delivery and. It's funny to some others. You just want to punch him. I think I've heard a friend of mine say that before. But I just, I can kind of see this film being maybe more of a,
And for those that don't know, the premise of this movie is about Jason Sudeikis being a moderate-time pot dealer and getting hired by his boss, Ed Helms, after he gets robbed of all of his money by some street thugs. Ed Helms, this white wannabe drug lord, hires him to bring a quote-unquote smidgen of pot back from Mexico for him, and ends up driving a
RV filled with pot
stuffed to the nines with marijuana.
He's missing Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong on that one. Hey,
Is
we
Willie
do have
Nelson?
Luis Guzman's in this one,
well,
Mark.
there
You will
you
be,
go.
waving the
That's a-
Mexican flag for you.
That's good.
Surprise, yeah. Hey, little Thomas Lennon. Good.
Now there we go. Anytime you can get Lieutenant Jim
Anytime
Dangle in your
I'm
movie.
telling you, though, and you can say what you want about We're the Millers. They got Ken Marino in this film as a strip club owner.
So
I am there.
That's
I'm
two
there.
guys from the state.
I'm there. Yes. No, I'm kidding. But no, I will say that about Aniston and her ability to keep the ball rolling. Who knows what she'll do next?
And like I said, she was really funny in it with her lines. And
She'll
whatever,
get desperate and show the goods eventually.
I don't want to
They
see
all
the
do.
good.
Oh yeah, you'll cover your eyes.
It's all about the goods.
You'll cover your eyes just like you did with Christy Brinkley in National Lampoon's Vacation.
No, I won't.
5th grade.
No, I won't. Let's not go.
And I have to say, one of the bigger downfalls of the movie is Emma Roberts was pretty emotionless
and bored.
You
Yeah.
know,
Why
one
am
of
I
the
on
things
this?
you could say
Can I
Emma
cash this
Roberts is
check?
the downfall of, and then insert the movie she's in. She
She
didn't get her aunt's talents.
She is Eric Roberts' daughter.
Yes,
That
poor her. Well, since we were talking about the goods, how many cans we giving We're the Millers?
I'm gonna give the Millers a generous 2.5 cans.
That is generous.
Well, that's way better than Hangover 3. Still the worst comedy of the summer.
There were solid laughs in the movie, but it had several drawbacks that could have been majorly improved on.
Interesting.